have flown.
Oh, over those railroad tracks? For
it would
sure.
have flown. Woo. That's very fast.
Well, boys, the time has finally come. I'm both really sad, but also really excited about today's video. As you can see, we got the Tesla Plaid sitting behind us here. As you guys know, we bought this thing off of Copart a while back. I paid $60,000 for this car. It was rear-ended. We then bought another wrecked Model S for the rear hatch and some other parts. We were able to hook this thing to our tree, pull out most of the crash damage. We got this thing looking good. I even took it down and got it inspected. It has a rebuilt title. It's road legal. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this Tesla Plaid here. We actually just washed it off. It is looking great. There's no reason for us to do anything more than just leave it and enjoy it. But you guys know that we can't leave this thing alone. And today, it will never look the same. That's why I'm a little sad. It hurts me because it came out so freaking good and it's been an awesome car, but you guys know the deal. We're tearing it down. You guys have been waiting on some Tesla Plaid content. And today we are going to be taking the doors off the rear hatch. We're gonna gut the interior completely. We're gonna see how much weight we can remove out of this thing without altering the factory body. We're not gonna get into any cutting yet, but we're gonna see if we can improve the factory 0 to 60 time. So before we get started, we're actually gonna take the car out as is and go run a few 0 to 60s on the draggy. And then we're going to completely gut this thing and see if the 0 to 60 picks up any more than that. And then we're gonna start ripping into this thing. We have a ton more planned for the car, but this will be phase one of what's to come with the Tesla Plaid here. So before we get into it, let's go ahead and run some 0 to 60 times and see where we're sitting. All right, guys, we are getting ready to do our first 0 to 60. We have about 214 miles worth of range, and I'm going to be doing 3 0 to 60s. We are on a unprepped surface, just a random road, so it's not gonna be as good as if we were at the drag strip, but drag strip's really far away. This is just down the street. This will be a lot easier for us, and we will do 3 0 to 60s, see where the car is sitting, and we will come back on the same amount of charge and see if it improves at all. I'm expecting it to do like maybe a 2.3, 2.4 0 to 60, hopefully on an unprepped surface. The website claims, 1.9, but that's really actually pretty tough to get. Most of them will do like 2 seconds flat or 2.1, I believe, on a drag strip. So we'll see what it does on a no prep here. And we're gonna put it in the drag strip mode, so every launch will be nice and consistent. And then we will come back another day once it is completely gutted. All right, here we go. Preparing for launch, getting into the cheetah stance. See what this thing does. 70% battery. Got the draggy hooked up, so we'll get an accurate 0 to 60 here. All right, here we go. Oh, these things are so fast. So what was that? 0 to 60, 2.37 on the first one. That's pretty dang good on a completely normal road. 2.37. Launch number 2. We do have a car coming up, so I got to get this over with. Oh, it's so fast. 60. That's it, 70 miles an hour, just like that. That one was also 2.37. I don't even know if we need to do a third. This thing's consistent.
30. 60.
Let's see what that one was. Oh, I wasn't recording on the third one. Frick. Forgot to do it on the draggy there. Okay, so that third one was a 2.35 on the 0 to 60. I forgot to hit record on the phone though, so we have 2.37 twice, I believe, and then 2.35, so pretty much 2.36. We'll call it the average on those. Now it's time to go take this thing apart. All right, guys, got the Tesla back in the shop here. We're gonna go ahead and throw it on the scales, see how much this thing weighs before we start taking stuff off, and see how much it weighs after. Show me your search history.
Yeah, 4780, just a random guess. That's what I'm guessing it weighs.
He definitely just Googled it.
I did not.
Before I turned the camera on, why it's like 5,200 pounds. Then he was on his phone for a second. You know what? 4,800.
Now it's 4780.
4,780. I'll go with 4,890. That's my guess. She's at 2,300 pounds and we're only halfway there.
48 flat.
All right.
Let her down.
Let her down. What is this thing at? Ooh, she's lighter than, what'd you say, Wyatt?
4780.
It's 4,700 on the dot.
Damn,
4,701.
Crazy.
You definitely said 5,200 the first time. Definitely Googled it.
That's so crazy. I was right on the money by 80 pounds.
So 4,700. I actually did think they were closer to that 5,000 pound mark, but that's a big old girl. So hopefully we can get that number closer to about 4,000 pounds. See how much we can get out of this thing. So the Tesla's been sitting on the scales for a couple minutes now, and they kind of settled into place, and we're actually at 47.45. So it added another 40 pounds. It just kind of had to fully calibrate there. So this is gonna be tough, boys. Sad sight. I love this freaking car, but the time has come. We're gonna start pulling all the doors off, rip the interior out of this thing, see how light we can get this Plaid. It has officially begun. I went ahead and pulled up the carpet on the driver's side footwell here, and I unplugged the driver door completely. So this harness is good to be pulled through. Those are the plugs right there. And I was talking to Rich Rebuilds and even B is for Build a bit, because he just did this to a Model 3, took all the doors and everything off of it. And Rich told me that everything we unplug, we just need to hop back in the car and make sure that it still goes into drive and that we don't unplug something that freaks the car out. So I went ahead and unplugged the door, and it said that the door was open, but then the second I unplugged it, it instantly thought the door closed. So we're good to go there. B is for Build told me that he was able to take off all the doors and hatch, no problem, and the car continued to work. And if we go into drive here, she still moves. Go forward. Oh, easy. Still works fine. So should be good to go ahead and pull all of the doors off of this thing and go from there. Definitely hurts to see this thing come apart, but I think it's gonna be worth it. All of the doors are off, including the rear hatch. That probably weighs a good 80 pounds. And if we hop back in the car, it does see that the rear doors are open and it's asking to close those, but it still lets us go into drive just fine and the car moves. So I'm not sure if it's going to add any sort of limits to the performance, seeing that those rear doors are open. But I think we can trick it to think that they're shut. Once we get the carpet pulled out, there are some manual releases under the carpet that run to these latches right here. And I found that if we have the door shut and then we unplug it while the car thinks it's shut, and then we take the door off, it should trick it into thinking that the doors are closed. So we're just not able to do it unless we get to that manual release, because these open electronically. So we can unplug it and then we can't get the door off. So we'll have to tear the carpet and interior out of this thing, and hopefully we can trick that into being shut. So I was just getting ready to take the rear seats out of this thing, and I found that manual release. We actually didn't have to pull the carpet out entirely. There was already this little cutout right here, and you just pull this guy back, and the back door manual release is right there. So it's good to know if you're in the back seat of a Tesla and the power dies or something, the manual latch is right in between your legs right here. So we're gonna go ahead and try to hang those rear doors back on and see if we can trick it into thinking they are shut. So we hung the rear door back on, tried the manual release once it was unplugged, and the car still thought the back door was open. It turns out if we just shut the latch right here, it thinks all the doors are closed. I swore I tried that earlier on the other side with the door plugged in, and I shut that latch manually with a screwdriver and it didn't work, so I didn't think that that was gonna do it. But after we pulled that one off, I just shut it and it worked. So maybe I was looking at the diagram and I have the wrong door in mind, but they're all shut now, so should be good to go. So as I pulled the passenger seat off, I tried to unplug it from down in here because I thought these plugs went to the seat, but I was wrong. So I ended up just unplugging the harness from the bottom of the seat. It just looked a little simpler in the moment, but these plugs are for something else. And when I unplugged them, it really upset the car. And we had a traction control error come up, a like ride control or drive control error come up, and it's like drive with caution, and all these other errors came up. So I ended up plugging those back in, and we reset it, just powered the car on and off. A lot of those cleared, so those plugs definitely had something to do with it. And now we just have a whole bunch of errors that have to do with like the restraint system because of that seat. If we go to notifications, you can see we have all these safety restraint system faults. And we also have a autopilot cameras unavailable. It says features may be restored on next drive. And we're thinking that's because this cable right here, this kind of fiber optic looking cable, is probably one of the cameras. I can't confirm, someone in the comments probably knows Tesla's, but I unplugged that guy and that's probably one of the cameras or something. I don't know. The autopilot says it's missing a camera, so the autopilot probably will be down right now. The autopilot feature is limited, may be restored on next drive, but other than that, all the safety restraint faults are to be expected. Everything else seems to be good over there. So right now we are working on getting this Kirky seat installed so we can drive this thing. While it's over there whipping up some brackets right now. And while he's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and start taking the front end apart on this thing, because like I said, I just wanna see how much weight we can possibly get out of this Tesla. We are going to be leaving the center console and dash though, because we don't wanna mess with anything up here. We do want all the functionalities of the car to still work. I have seen another Tesla that they gutted the dash and everything out of, and car still ran fine, but we have some other future plans with this thing and we want to keep some of the interior intact, so we're not going to be touching any of that. I'm sure there would be some weight to you know, get out of all of that as well, but I can safely say that we have taken a ton of weight off of this thing. And these panels are aluminum, so I'm assuming they're not going to be too heavy, but we're going to go ahead and pull the hood, both fenders, front bumper, and the headlights off. Also get the rear bumper off of this thing, and then we'll get that seat mounted up. And then we're just about ready to go. And I know everyone's going to want to see this thing at a drag strip. And I do know that having the front end on there will help this thing with the aerodynamics and things like that. That is something we will be taking into consideration, but we have some other plans with the car as well. And the front end is going to have to come off regardless, but we will be keeping that in mind. And there is a chance the front end might go back on this thing in the future. But for right now, it's all coming off. All right guys, we got the front end completely pulled apart here. I didn't realize how much of that was actually gonna come off. We were originally gonna leave this big plastic piece on there because this held up the headlights and some other stuff, but it was big and bulky and ugly. So we got rid of this, but I did have to cut off the lower half of it right here because the radiator and this duct mount off of these guys right here. So we had to put these metal pieces back on because that sandwiches everything together. So now our radiator is good to go. This right here is the air compressor for all the shocks. It's on these little rubber mounts. It'd be nice if we could relocate that in the future, but for right now, we're just gonna leave it. But there might be room for it like up over here. All these lines are completely flexible. Nothing is hard mounted, so we'll deal with that in the future. This was all of the wiring that was up on that plastic piece. So we have the front clutch right here. If you look, it has a couple micro switches, and those have to be triggered in the shut position to let the car go into drive, or else it thinks the front is open. So we just lock the latch shut, and we already tested the car. It still goes into drive just fine. And if you look right over here, Plaid's been working on the Kirky seat bracket. He just has to get it fully welded out. And he actually tacked all of this in the car. And initially we were a little worried about welding inside of an electric car with, you know, like a 400 volt battery. Things could go really wrong. So when we did that, we unplugged this fireman's loop right here. When you unplug this guy, this is designed for if firemen are coming to, you know, save you out of the car, it's on fire or whatever. If they come and just cut this, it completely disconnects the 400 volt battery. I'm not sure if that's the right voltage, but it's a lot. The main battery under the car is completely disconnected from the car, and there's no issues there. We also unplugged the 12 volt battery right here, just to make sure we're not shorting anything else out while we're tack welding in there, and everything was good. Double checked it with Rich Rebuilds, and I know the Grindhard Plumbing guys, they did a whole bunch of welding on a Tesla when they like made an off-road one. They had no issues with it, so everything's good. We're getting real close. Wyatt's just gonna finish up that seat bracket. We're gonna get it in the air, get the rear bumper off, and that's about it. We do have some little stuff in here that we could pull, like these little rear seat belt buckles and just a whole bunch of little tiny stuff. Also the weather stripping, but these have a whole bunch of glue on them, and you know, the juice just ain't worth the squeeze on all that. So we might get a couple extra pounds, but I think we're calling it good there. We've been working on this thing a lot the last couple days, and I just want to go rip it with nothing on it anymore. So we're almost there, and then we're also going to weigh it here very soon as well. You know, I really forgot how messed up this thing was back here, but you know, we got to make her street legal again, so we'll just cover that right up. No big deal. Yeah, we should probably hammer that flat.
Yeah.
All right, now we should be good.
Oh yeah.
Good to go. Yeah. Street legal. Well, I just got the seat mount all done. Came out good.
Yep, time to go in the car. Curious to see how much it weighs. Definitely a lot lighter than the stock seats. So
Way lighter. So we'll go ahead and get the seat in there, get the scales back up under this
I
thing.
can't Google it at the moment, so I don't know.
Yeah, you don't got Google this time. Well, let's get that in there and see how much she lost. We got it up on the lift. We went ahead and got the rear bumper off. And this is as far as we're gonna take it, boys. Completely gutted Tesla Plaid. All right, guys, the moment you've been waiting for. We got the scales all zeroed. Ready to set this thing down. We've had to take at least 600 pounds out of it. And what was it before, 47? 40?
I think.
And I mean, dude, look at all that stuff over there.
6, maybe 700.
I mean, the doors were 57 pounds each, call it 60. The front seats were 60 each. The rear seats all together were 80. I was just doing some math on my calculator. It has to be at least 600 pounds, maybe more. After the front bumper, the hood, all that stuff. So I'm gonna say it's like, I'm gonna go for like 4,000 pounds.
1,000.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
It'd
be cool if it was
40-50. The Price is Right rules.
It'd be cool if it was in the 3s, but I don't know if it's.
I don't know if it's gonna be there. That's a lot of weight.
Oh, I guess set her on down. All right, see what we're at. We're gonna have to give the scales a second to settle. We're at 39.50. Oh, there was a jump. So it has these little rubber boots under the scales, so they take a while to fully settle into place. So we're just gonna give it a second and see where we're at.
Oh, she's climbing.
She's climbing though. I think it's gonna be over 4,000.
Thick.
Big girl.
She is big, thick.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll give it like 5 minutes and then it kind of fully settles out. Yep, we're gonna go over 4 for sure.
Womp, womp, womp.
4,000. Well, it's been sitting for a couple minutes and it has climbed pretty high. We're about to hit 440. And there it is. I think we'll call it there.
Yeah.
Because that's nice and round where we left off, because if we were at 4740, that's 700 pounds.
Yeah.
That's
pretty
pretty
crazy.
good. Yeah, it's starting to stop. Oh, dude, it's still climbing pound by pound. It's close enough. Call it 700 pounds.
I'd say 10 pounds ain't gonna make or break nothing.
That's pretty nuts.
That's pretty crazy.
Hey, they say every 100 pounds is a tenth.
Tenth.
I don't know how much the aerodynamics will affect it, but that would be nuts.
Right.
I think if we get it to the track, it could probably do an 8.
I'm curious.
That'd be my goal.
That would be interesting to see how much the aerodynamics versus just weight reduction. I feel like the two go hand in hand, so we'll see.
It's pretty wild though. 700 pounds out of the Plaid, boys. That is a ton of stuff over there. Yeah. Now we gotta find a place to put all this stuff.
For real. Back in the car. Reassemble it.
Ain't got no mirrors.
looks ridiculous.
It looks awesome. Hit it. Dude, it got a little squirrely.
Right.
First cheetah launch, fully gutted.
It looks
like a
so
bucket of
ridiculous.
bolts.
It does, yeah, all the stuff rolling around in the back.
Got so much grass in here.
Oh, brother.
Well, I guess we should go try that new 0 to 60.
Yep.
It feels way lighter. I'm actually not sure if making it lighter, at least for the launch on an unprepped surface, might, actually hurt the traction down low, because the weight with how much torque it normally has, it almost seems like it has to use more traction control on the hit. It's just
looks like
so much lighter. It feels lighter. I guess we won't know until we try it though.
Yep.
We go hit the same road. We got some daylight. I'll hook the draggy up and see if we're any quicker.
You got a lot of grass in here.
Yeah, I'll go air it out real quick.
Like, everywhere.
I'm gonna go take it down the road. Let me air it out. I'm not sure about the launch, but from a 40 roll, the top end, you can feel it. It
Let me
is
in
so
this
much
thing.
lighter. Dude, it sounded like something just let go. Something definitely just let go on it. Like the front flap on that radiator or something started dragging on the ground. Nah, it's just the front plastic.
That under tray deal.
Oh, Lord.
We'll just have to pull it back in real quick and get the rest of the plastic under tray off, and then we're good.
It scare you?
Yeah. Dude, I thought for sure it was an airbag or a tire. I was like, there's no way first rip.
Leave it
But
up to
yeah,
Wyatt to
that
break
was-
something.
That was pretty loud. I was like, oh shit.
What do you think, though? It feels...
Allegedly, it is much faster 60 plus. Allegedly.
Dude,
It is
it
much
looks
faster.
ridiculous.
That's wild.
Well, let's rip that off, and then we'll know for sure.
Yep.
Man, we're losing aerodynamics. I know. We're just taking all the aero off this thing. There we go.
Weight reduction.
That was an extra pound right there. Every little bit.
All right.
All right. You down?
Round two.
You down to go with me to 0 to 60 it?
No.
No, just follow me and film me from the outside.
Yeah.
All right. All right, now I think we're gonna go do the 0 to 60, see if it changed at all, see if it didn't. I can confirm though, the top end,
Quicker.
it changed
It's
for
quicker.
sure. The launch, we'll have to see. The 0 to 60 might not matter, and the only real way to know is to take it to a drag strip and compare it to other factory plaids. We just didn't have enough time to, shoot all the way to the drag strip, come back, take it up, we can just compare it to other plaids, and then when we do get it ready, we are gonna take it down the drag strip, and we'll see how much faster it gets. We're heading back to the 0 to 60 spot right now. No doors, no rear hatch. It's basically just like a Tesla Jeep. At least that's what I'm gonna tell the officer if I get pulled over, because I see plenty of Jeeps mobbing down here, no doors, and they get away with it, so I think we should be good. All right, getting ready to redo the 0 to 60. 234 miles of range, identical to where it was before. It had like 215 last time, so we're right on the money there. See if it's any better. All right, here we go. Entering cheetah stance. Let's see if it got any faster.
Thing looks ridiculous.
30, 60.
No! It got slower, boys. I can feel it struggling for traction. It did a 2.6. All that work and we went slower. Dang. We'll do it a couple more times to be sure, but I can feel it struggles now. I think the extra weight actually helped it get traction. So we'll flip around, do 2 more, but it got slower. That is unreal. I know it would be faster at a drag strip, so we're just gonna have to take it and see how much it affects it there.
Is it quicker?
It got slower.
I figured it would.
I think the weight helped with traction before, but
Yeah.
we'll do a couple more just to be sure, but I think the true test will be at the drag strip. All right, for this next one, I'm just gonna punch it and not have it in cheetah stance, see if it makes any difference.
I don't know. I think that one looked a little quicker.
30, 60.
Oh, I wasn't recording on that one. Let me go back, see what it was. Okay, okay. We're almost back. That was a 2.4, 2.48. Still slower, which sucks. But I want to try that one more time and get it on draggy.
I don't know. That one looked quicker.
That one was quicker. I'm gonna do it one more time. I forgot to hit start on the draggy, but it was a 2.4.
Nice.
So it's back to where it was, but it's still slower.
Yeah. I think the 60 to 120 is probably where you're going to see the improvement.
Yeah, I really just want to get it to the track, and then we'll really know.
Yeah.
Once we have some glue down, because the traction control, you can just feel it has to work harder now that it's not as planted. Another 2.43. Well, what can I say, boys? It got slower. You can definitely feel the traction control fighting a little harder. I can promise you though, the top end definitely is faster. I'm doing one last cheetah stance just to be sure, because we only did one from the beginning. I don't know, that one felt pretty good. Oh, that was 2.34 or 2.35. So hey, I don't know what happened to that first cheetah stance, why it was so slow, but that one just matched our original time. So I don't know, that was 2.35. Only the drag strip will tell us, boys, if this was a big waste of time or not. Well, I think it's safe to say if you want to completely gut your Tesla Plaid to race people on the street, unless you get some better tires or something, it is not worth it, boys. That was a ton of work, and the 0 to 60 time did not improve at all. But we don't have enough runway out here to run an 1/8 mile or 1/4 mile, so we're gonna have to wait until we get to the drag strip to do all of that. And that's where the real improvement is going to be found. I'm not too concerned about that 0 to 60 number being tied with our previous best. So we did match it. It did a 2.35, I believe, on that last one, and that was our best before we started gutting this thing. So we're just at the limits of the tires on a completely unprepped road. Not too concerned about that. If we were at the track with some sticky on the ground, I think it's gonna make a huge difference. I mean, we got 700 pounds out of this thing. The car normally does a mid to high 1.460 foot at the drag strip out there on the road. I mean, that's still impressive. It's on a completely unprepped road. It was still doing a 1.61 out there today, gutted on, you know, just a completely unprepped road. So we're gonna get this thing to the drag strip, but we are going to have to add a couple things just to make it a little safer. So we got some stuff over there. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I gotta clean up this freaking mess. All of these Tesla parts everywhere. And the real test will be at the drag strip. We'll see how much the aero affects it, not having doors on it. I don't know if it's gonna get that much faster. I don't know if it's gonna be worth it. I've never seen anyone do this with a Tesla Plaid to this level. So all I'm gonna say is we still have some more weight to remove and some things to fab up. But we'll see you guys in the next video.